I wanna be a billionaire so fucking bad. And here's how I'm gonna get there. Recently, I've been learning a lot more about money and putting more of an emphasis on long-term sustainable wealth. And in today's video, I'm going to go through everything that I'm doing to secure my financial future. So number one, a great thing that I think everyone should do is learn, specifically by reading books, by attending seminars, consuming YouTube videos, other media. I love to learn and I love to read. And for the longest time, I've been learning from self-improvement books in communication, in health and fitness, mental health, all that great stuff. But I've been neglecting learning about money. I didn't have any books regarding to finance. So the other day I went out and bought Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki and The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. These are staples in the finance community, in the self-improvement community. And I just love reading because of how relaxing it is and expanding my mind. Because your mind is your greatest asset. Greater than any house you could buy, greater than any classic car you could buy, greater than any crypto. Your brain is the driving force between everything that you do, and the more information that you can absorb, the better chance you have to securing financial independence and financial freedom. So, become a lifelong student. It will pay you far more than any money in the world. The second thing that I've started learning about and actually started doing is investing. I, like most people, was very ignorant to investing. I thought it was gambling. I thought they were no better than people who do sports bets and go to the horse races and look at all this speculative stuff about things that are going to go up and down. But I've realized long-term investing, specifically in EFT/index funds, I'm not a financial advisor, so I'm not going to give any financial tips in this video, but investing in those things and learning more about them just emphasized how ignorant I was. We as humans, if we don't understand something, we tend to shy away from it and we say, no, that's bad. What we know is good. And that's what's kept us alive for thousands of years. But learning about new things is the way to thrive. If you want to survive, stay with what you know. If you want to thrive, learn from others, learn from other sources of media, learn about new things. And from me learning about investing and actually putting a portion of the money that I earn from my part-time paycheck, I have realized the opportunity that I have to start off and securing my financial future. And I'm so glad I've started this at 19 years old. How I wish I could have started at the very start when I was 18 years old, learning about the different tax benefits. Of course, there's differences between the US and the UK and other countries. Just if you're thinking about investing, just learn this for yourself, read books, watch YouTube videos, learn about the tax benefits that you can have in your country, because there's great money to be made and a lot of people are refusing to do that because of their own preconceived notions. Now, the next thing that a lot of people are more comfortable with and more reliable with is savings. Now, I'm not going to bash savings. Savings are always great, and I encourage you to have an emergency fund. But the problem is that I was heavily reliant on my savings. I wasn't taking money out to spend on things, but I was putting loads and loads of money in my savings, and it was just sort of sitting there doing nothing, sort of collecting dust. And the problem with leaving loads and loads of money in your savings is that inflation is going to bite it. Let's say you've got 10K in your savings in 2025. That 10K will not have the same purchasing power in 2045 as it does in 2025 due to a little thing called inflation. Again, I'm not going to go into depth about economics, but you can understand where I'm coming from. That's where investing comes in. It combats inflation and secures you money for the long term. And as I said before, I do recommend everyone have 6 to 12 months of emergency funds. Don't be dipping into your savings like a lot of people do. A lot of people, they, will go into your savings and they're always taking money out. They're putting money in, but they're always taking away and not letting that money just accumulate and build into a bigger number. You need to have some allocation in your life at the end of every month when you get paid or whenever you get paid, like I just have been today, you need to sit down, see how much you've made. You need to calculate your expenses, like your car payments, any debt you have, any rent you need to pay, groceries, etc., gym memberships. And then you need to see, okay, how much do I have left over to put into my savings and to put into investing if that's what you want to do, or any things you want to invest in. Your savings should not just be there left to collect dust, but you also shouldn't be constantly taking it from it. Have a time to save and a time to invest. The next thing that I've been doing to secure my financial future is this, YouTube, my side hustle. Now, I am nowhere near earning money on YouTube. I don't have 1,000 subscribers. I don't have 4,000 watch hours, but that could be possible if you like and subscribe and share this video with all your friends, But it's always been a dream of mine to be a YouTuber, but I'm always trying to put more emphasis on the enjoyment of making YouTube videos. I don't want this to become a chore, and I don't want to be focused on just making money with YouTube. I want to help people and I want to have fun while doing it. So having a side hustle where I have the opportunity to earn money as well as just have a fun hobby, because even though I'm not making money from these videos, I don't feel like it's a waste of time. The comments that I get are amazing. The feedback that I get from you guys is amazing. And seeing this community that we're building together is absolutely wonderful. So I urge you to make a YouTube channel. Maybe there's another side hustle. Maybe there's a business you wanted to start. Whatever it is, go for it. Especially if you're the same age as me, 19. Any way that you can get some additional income, that is the key to sustaining long-term wealth. Another thing that I want to put onto the people is having a cheap car. Now, I know that's very specific, but so many people my age have a car on finance. They have Mercedes, they have BMWs, they have Audis that cost tens of thousands, and it's a 2023 model, it's a 2025 model. That's great, but you are shooting yourself in the foot. Cars, from a financial standpoint, are a scam, an absolute scam. They, of course, have, a good return on investment in saving you a lot of time because you can get from A to B much quicker. But in terms of money, from a monetary standpoint, they are dreadful. The moment you buy a car, it loses value. The moment that you drive that car off the lot, it loses value. If you put 10,000 miles on a car, it loses value. Even if it's just 10,000 miles, you cannot sell that car for the same price that you bought it. Now, of course, there are exceptions. There's classic cars, but for the average daily car, they depreciate. It's the most expensive thing that you're ever going to buy that loses money. And I have to stress to people, if you are thinking about buying a car on finance, please reconsider. Buy a car that you can afford and that is reliable. See what I did there? Buy a Ford. Anyway, and if you have bought a car on finance and you're paying off that debt, please try to clear that debt as soon as possible. You can't change the past, but you can certainly secure your future. For those who haven't bought a car yet and considering getting one, get a cheap one. And if you're going to buy cheap, buy Japanese. They're the most reliable. I'm talking about your Toyotas, your Hyundais, your Lexus, your Hondas. You won't be the coolest kid on the block, but you'll be the richest. And you've got to understand that a lot of this wanting to buy a flashy car and wanting to show off is just because of that. You're wanting to show off. You're wanting external validation. I remember when I was first looking in the market for a car, and I was being so snobby about it because I was afraid of being made fun of by my friends or other people saying things or just looking, uncool. I was thinking, okay, I don't want a car that's older than 2010. I don't want a car that doesn't have Bluetooth. I don't want a car that doesn't have a digital speedometer. That's how stupid I was, all right? I'd learned in a car that had a digital speedometer, so I was like, I want it to be digitized. I want this, I want that. But I was in a very fortunate position. I had tons of savings because I've been saving since I was a kid. My parents made like a child bank account for me when I was born, I think, and my mom kept depositing money into it, and I'm very grateful for that. But I spent £5,000 on a car. Let's say it's what, $6,500, and it's not bad for your first car with the savings that I had, but I could have bought a car for, let's say, $1,000 or whatever it is, and I could have bought a reliable car. I wouldn't have been the most flashy. I wouldn't have pulled the most girls mostly, but I could have done so much more with that money. And I'm grateful for the car that I have. It's a Peugeot 208, a 2016 model. It's, not a bad car. I know people argue about it being a Peugeot. It's a crappy car. And I wish I had got a Japanese car instead in terms of reliability. But that car had low mileage on it, and I'm just going to drive it into the ground. I'm going to drive it until it cannot drive anymore. And this is sort of the mentality that you need with cars, because you're not going to make your money back on them, so you may as well buy a cheap one and use the money that you would have bought for a more expensive one into other things like investing, saving, your side hustle. So get a cheap car. And this links to the final point of living below your means. Due to external validation that we seek, we tend to think that if we, have the latest phone, if we have all the subscriptions to Netflix and YouTube Premium, Spotify Premium, if we have the swankiest clothes, some new shoes, and we move out of our parents at 20 years old, that's how we're going to secure our future. And I was in that mind as well. I remember for the past couple months, every time I got paid, I would head to TK Maxx. That's what we call it in the UK. I know it's called TJ Maxx in the US. I would go there. I would go to see what designer clothes I could get for a bargain and think, oh, wow, I'm using my money so wisely. And I did at one point need to overhaul my wardrobe because a lot of the clothes I had were clothes that my mum had bought me. But I didn't need to buy that many clothes, and I was spending, as soon as I got paid, upwards of like £50 to £100 on just clothes. And then I was looking to buy some new shoes, and then the person that was working at the shoe shop was an old school friend I have, and he convinced me to buy some shoe polish as well. I left him a good review, of course, because, got to help out the homies. I was looking into getting more hair products. I bought hairsprays. I bought the best toothpaste I could get. I was trying to Lux Max at that time as well. I was buying, soaps that were very specific from the store, all of these unnecessary things. And now I've started to live below my means. Because in my current account, in my checking account, I was putting £400 into it. That's $540 USD. Now, of course, I wasn't spending all that money, but I wanted to keep that money in because it made me feel rich. It made me feel like, oh, I can go anywhere. I can go on dates. I can buy meals. I can buy drinks for people. And now, on this day that I've got paid, I have left just £150 into my account. Just $200 for the entire month. If I spend more than that, which I doubt because I looked at what I was spending last month, I was eating out a lot. I was going out to bars with friends and getting expensive drinks. I was like, okay, I'm going to live below my means. I'm not going to exclude fun. If my friends want to go out and we're going to buy a meal or whatever, that's great. I'm going to partake in that. But I'm not going to allow this sort of egotistical sense of spending money in order to seem rich get the best of me. If you can spend less than you earn, you are in good stead to secure your financial future. If I only spend £150, $200 in this month, even less than that, because the only real thing I have to pay for is my fuel, which I paid for already at the start of this month, and fuel for my car, and also my car insurance, which I'm just going to use the money that I have in my savings and then just build it up from there. I think if I can keep this sort of frugal lifestyle, as I said, I'm living with my parents, so I'm very grateful for that I don't have to, pay rent or anything. I can use this to my advantage and I can become financially free. And I hope you do the same, bro. I hope you've learned something from this video. I hope I've given you some good ideas, or at least a little bit of wisdom that you can use. If you want the main takeaway of this video, it's learn about money. Please learn about money. We don't learn a lot about money in school. I remember the only thing that I really learned in school regarding money was now and again we would have these sort of, I don't know, life skill like presentations in our form rooms where the teacher would explain like what a mortgage was and things like that. But that was years and years ago, and it was heavily rushed, and it was from a teacher who wasn't a financial expert. My form teacher was a history teacher. She was a fantastic lady, but she was in no position to teach me about finances. And I encourage as well to learn from people who know what they're doing. Don't listen to poor people. Don't listen to that. Sounds very harsh, but don't listen to people who are not in the position you want to be in. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. God bless. And as always, you take very good care of yourself.